All right, everybody, this is a guided walkthrough for the No FA challenge from picoCTF 2026 as part of their web exploitation set of challenges. So the description of the challenge says, it seems like some data has been leaked. Can you get the flag? And we're actually going to get more information after we click on this button over here, Launch Instance. Okay, so after we launch the instance, we see some additional information. It says you can get started here to find the flag. The application code can be found here, and the leaked data can be found here. So what we can do is, well, first of all, we need to download these two files. So the application code and the leaked data. And in order to interact with this, we're going to want to access our web shell. Click on Open in Workspace. And then after this terminal starts up, we want to right-click on the terminal and then navigate down to this frame and then click on the Open Frame in New Tab button over here. So this is going to put the terminal in a separate browser tab over here. And we're going to create a directory we can work inside of. So this is called NoFA. So we're going to make a directory called NoFA and then enter that directory. Okay, so from here, we're going to download the two files that they mentioned in the challenge. So there is application code can be found here. So we'll right click on this and select copy link. Then go over to our web shell, type in wget space, paste in the file address, and then hit enter. And we can also click on this other link. The leaked data can be found here. So right click on this, select copy link, go to the web shell, paste in users.db. So this, oh, sorry, we need to do wget in front of that. Okay. So I'm actually, there's actually one part of this challenge that you actually can't do on the web shell, but actually maybe you can. Yeah, no. There's one part of this challenge that you can't do inside the web shell. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be taking a look at is this users.db file over here. So there's app.py, which is the source code of the application. There's also users.db. So the first thing we're going to be taking a look at is this database file. We can run file on users.db, and it says this is an SQLite 3.x database, which means we need to interact with this using a specific program. So SQLite 3 space and then users.db. Okay, so from here, we're inside of the SQLite database program. There are a couple of commands we can do to take a look at what's inside this database. So the first one was .tables to let us know what tables exist in the database. And the second one would be to check the schema to check the columns for the users table. So .schema space users. So that there are these different columns. There's the ID column, the username column, the email column, the password column, and the 2FA column. So if we take a look at everything in the table, we would have to give this command. It's going to be select star from users, and then we put a semicolon at the end. This will let us know all the information from all the different columns in this table, or the different rows. This is a bit hard to look at, but let's try to dissect this. So the ID number is here. The username is this over here, John Doe. The email is john.doe@mfa.com. The password is not the actual password, but a hash. So this is a password hash. And then there's 2FA. So 2FA is Boolean, default 0. So we see here that most of these users have 2FA, they don't have 2FA enabled on their accounts. But there's one user here called admin who does have 2FA enabled in his account. The thing is that this kind of list over here, what we could do is we could try to crack all the passwords. Since we have the usernames and the password hashes, we can try to crack the passwords with a separate program. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create a list or a file which has all the usernames and passwords, or now the password hashes. So we're going to run this command over here, separator semicolon. Oh, separator. Yeah, separator semicolon, which is going to separate all of the columns by semicolons. Sorry, not semicolons, colons instead of the pipes. Then we're going to select username and password from the users table. So this is going to get a format that we can use when we do our password cracking attack. So we're just going to copy all this, and we're going to copy it over to our local machine. Yeah, John the Ripper for example. Okay, so we're going to move over to our Kali Linux machine because we don't have our password lists on the web shell. So over here, let's see. So the NoFA directory. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to create a file called userhashes.txt. Actually, let me get rid of this file first. Okay. Nano space, and we're going to call this, yeah, userhashes.txt with nano. Okay, so userhashes.txt, we're inside of nano now. We're going to paste in all of the usernames and password hashes over here, and then we're going to save this file out. So Control X, save modified buffer Y for yes, hit enter to confirm the file name, and then we're going to try to crack the hashes using a common password cracking program called John the Ripper. And in fact, let's review what we did up until this point. So this is picoCTF 2026 NoFA. In this challenge, we're given a database file to inspect, the source code for the web app, and asked to compromise the website. So we can use the SQLite program to enumerate the database for useful information. And in the database, we see that there are user password hashes, so we can attempt to crack them. So as for what kind of hashes are used by the SQLite system, if you do a quick search, you can find out which kind of hashing is used by SQLite 3. Okay, so let's see. Internal symbol management. Internally, SQLite uses hash tables to manage its symbol tables. And let's see. External content verification. Okay, it uses a SHA-1 hashing algorithm. And application level hashing. So let's see, does not include built-in SQL functions for hashing. So let's see. After doing some research, you find out that these password hashes right here are SHA-256 hashes. So what you want to do is you want to feed these into John the Ripper with this command right here. So John the Ripper is going to try to find out what the password hashes were originally by running it in raw SHA-256 mode, and we're going to run it on user hashes.txt. The word list that is going to use to try to figure out what the original passwords were is called rocku.txt, which is a list of, I think it's like 14 million of the most common passwords. I don't remember how many million it is. It's a lot. Okay, so run John. Very quickly, we're able to crack these hashes. So we found two. We're only interested in the admin hash, of course. So admin, this user has the password apple@123. So we can use this to try to log into the application. So here's what we're going to do. Let's see. Is my instance still running? It's only running for 1 minute and 28 seconds. We're going to restart this. And then we're going to take a look at the website. So here, log out. Let's just ignore the fact that the flag was just sitting there. Anyways, we're going to try to log in as the admin user. Okay, so here we're going to supply admin as the username, and the password is apple@123. Okay, we click on login. And then we see here, there's something called the OTP verification. So enter the OTP sent to your registered email. So we don't know what the OTP is because we don't have access to the email. So this is where we have to take a look at how the OTP is being handled by the application. So if we go over to the source code that we downloaded earlier, app.py, and we take a look at it, we see that inside the application, if a user has 2FA enabled, then they need to generate the OTP. So OTP equals some random number between 1,000 and 999. 9,999, and then they're going to store it inside of the cookie. So session something something lets us know that this is being stored inside the cookie, and this is a Flask application. So where is it? So the OTP secret is a number, and it's being stored in the cookie. So if we can decode the cookie, we can get the OTP secret from there. So this is how we're going to do it. If we go over to the web browser, we should have a cookie now. If we go over to the browser, more tools, web developer tools, and then we look at the storage, we should see a session cookie with this value right here. We're going to copy the value, and then we're going to keep it around somewhere. So I'm just going to paste it over here. This is our cookie, and what we can do is we can create a script that decodes the cookie. So decode flaskcookie.py. Here's a little script that I wrote with the help of AI, of course. And what does this do? So what this does is it takes in a Flask cookie and it decodes it. So we need to provide the cookie value as part of as the argument to the script. And what this is going to do is it's going to let us see what's inside the Flask cookie. Okay, so we run Python decode Flask cookie, and we're going to paste in the Flask cookie that we have for the application. So this is what's inside the Flask cookie. So username admin, OTP timestamp this, OTP secret is this number right here. So the actual OTP secret, you don't need to get it from the email. If you can read the cookie and decode it, you can read this. So 9341 is the cookie, is the OTP value. So 9341, and then click verify and login. Okay, invalid OTP or OTP expired. Okay, we're going to have to be a little bit faster about this. So let's go back home. We're going to try to log in again. So it's admin app apple at 123, and we're going to get our new cookie. So we need to do this a little bit faster. Where's our storage? Storage cookies here. Okay, we're just going to copy the cookie. We're going to very quickly run the Python script. Talk about bad bad OTP practices. Yeah, that's I mean, there are a few different ways you can get past OTP or 2FA. So 3700. Okay, let's very quickly put it in. 3700, verify and log in. And then it says login successful. So we were able to read the OTP value from the cookie, and we get the flag. So picoCTF, no rate, no auth. No rate, no auth. Okay, so let's grab the cookie value here. Sorry. Grab the cookie value here and submit this as the flag. So back at the challenge, go down to the bottom, paste in the flag, click on submit flag, and you're finished. Okay. So if you're wondering where I have the code for this Flask decoding script, I'm pretty sure I've got it in my GitHub notes over here. So let me just check. No, I don't. Okay, let me very quickly create it over here. So this is what? No FA? Okay, so I'm just going to leave this blank, and I'm just going to put in the Flask cookie decoding script over here. So this can come in handy anytime you're dealing with an application that uses Flask cookies. Let's commit those changes. All right, everybody, this was a guided walkthrough for the No FA Challenge from picoCTF 2026 as part of their web exploitation series of challenges. If you enjoyed this guided walkthrough, please click on the like and subscribe buttons on the video and leave a comment underneath the video. But until next time, HackerFrogs out.
Hey there, HackerFrogs! Are you enjoying this workshop? Learning new concepts and skills? If so, there's a way you can support the channel, and it's totally free. Just click on the subscribe button below the video. Also, click on the like button. And if you have questions or comments on this workshop, please leave them below the video. Thanks for listening. And now, back to our scheduled programming.